In the extended cut of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, during the negotiations with the Mouth of Sauron, there's a shot of Pippin sitting in front of Gandalf, but it's clearly not Billy Boyd in the scene. In Men in Black, during the tunnel scene where Tommy Lee Jones drives on the tunnel roof, Will Smith's character flips over without a seatbelt. If you look closely, you can see the stunt double's leg, a white ankle showing briefly, making it obvious it's not Smith.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Throughout Arnold Schwarzenegger's early career, stunt doubles were noticeably used. In Terminator 2, Judgment Day, there is a clear shot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double during the first chase between the T-1000 and T-800. Similarly, in Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double is noticeably different, even bald, during the subway escape scene, making the switch quite obvious. And in True Lies, at the start, when Arnold rolls in the snow and pops up to shoot at the ski guards, his stunt double's wig is clearly fake. In The Addams Family, during the Mamushka dance, there's a part where Gomez and Fester juggle knives. In the wide shot, Raul Julia and Christopher Lloyd are replaced by real jugglers, who are noticeably thinner than the actors they're standing in for, especially Julia's double, who's easier to spot. In Blade Runner, Daryl Hannah's character Pris is unmistakably swapped with a stunt double during the gymnastics scene. Her tall, slender frame is replaced by a shorter, muscular man, making the swap easy to spot in an otherwise iconic scene. In Moonraker, during the skydiving scene, it's obvious that uncredited stunt double Jake Lombard is used instead of Roger Moore. While Lombard's aerial skills are impressive, close-up shots reveal that he's not the actor playing James Bond. In Titanic, during the scene where Jack draws Rose, James Cameron actually did the sketch, with his hands filmed in close-up. But since Cameron's drawing didn't quite match the one seen earlier in the movie, another artist was hired to redo it, essentially a stunt double for the drawing itself. In the opening of Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, Austin punches out a waitress who's actually a male assassin in disguise. Before the reveal, the waitress is played by a real woman, but when she falls, she's clearly replaced by a male actor in a wig.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
In Carry On Loving, when Miss Dempsey throws Gripper out the window, it's clear that Patsy Rollins isn't actually lifting Bernard Bresslaw, but a stuffed dummy in his clothes. In Back to the Future, during the scenes where Marty is rammed by Biff's car while riding the makeshift skateboard, the stuntman clearly looks different from Michael J. Fox, being taller with darker hair. Some speculate that this double might actually be Eric Stoltz from the original shoot, before he was replaced by Fox. Also, when George spies on Lorraine while she's getting dressed, the girl we see is clearly not Leah Thompson.
He's a peeping Tom.
In Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks' brother, Jim Hanks, stepped in as his double for the scenes where Forrest jogs across America. Due to the extensive running required, Jim, who closely resembles his brother, handled many of the long-distance shots, though you can tell it's not actually Tom in some scenes. In the second Tomb Raider movie, during a bike chase, a stunt was so difficult that no woman could perform it. A male stuntman was dressed as Angelina Jolie to do the scene, but the switch is obvious and looks funny because his build doesn't match Jolie's. In Jurassic Park, when Lex falls through a ceiling tile in the air vent scene, her arms suddenly look much more muscular, thanks to a stunt double. They even had to CGI Ariana Richards' face onto the stunt double, since she wasn't supposed to look up. In A League of Their Own, during the final game, when Kit tackles Dottie at home plate, it's clear that a stunt double is used for Dottie. The double has a different face shape, more dirt on her face, and doesn't match Dottie's height. In The Avengers, Scarlett Johansson's stunt double, Heidi Moneymaker, takes over during Black Widow's chair-based fight scene. The visibly more muscular arms and slight difference in hair color make the switch noticeable, even with all the intense flipping and action. When you're a hairy-faced dude doubling for one of the most beautiful women in the world, the least you can do is shave. But to be fair to stuntman Diego Guerra, he was probably more focused on his upcoming motorcycle stunt than the state of his facial hair when he stepped in for Penelope Cruz in Zoolander 2.
And I'm not good at a motorcycle, so I had a great stunt double that had a beard.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God!
In the famous bike chase scene from E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Elliot's stunt double was actually a full-grown man, specifically a skilled BMX rider, used to perform the more difficult bike maneuvers during the chase sequence. The taller stunt doubles for the kids made these swaps pretty obvious. In Face Off, John Woo's love for slow-motion action shots makes it clear when stunt doubles replace John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. The most obvious example is during the climactic boat scene, where Archer and Troy are thrown into the air, but the faces in slow motion are definitely not Travolta and Cage. In The Princess Bride, Buttercup pushes Roberts down a steep hill, then, after realizing he's really her long-lost love Wesley, dives after him. We then get a scene of the two tumbling down the hill. At one point, Wesley's bandana comes off, and we see his red-headed, bearded stunt double tumble down. In Friday the 13th, when Brenda's body is thrown through the window near the end, it's actually makeup artist Tom Savini in a wig that doesn't match her hair color at all.
I'm Bambi.
And I'm Thumper.
In Diamonds Are Forever, during the scene where Willard White's two female captors dive into the pool after James Bond, Thumper is obviously played by a different actress than the one who portrayed her earlier in the film. In Point Break, a skydiving scene shows a stunt double holding onto Patrick Swayze instead of Keanu Reeves. Reeves didn't do the jump himself, and the double's different face and visible parachute make it obvious. In Friday the 13th Part 3, when Jason grabs Chris as she falls from a window, it's clear in the outside shots that a stunt actress is being used. In the opening of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, a fit climber is shown scaling El Capitan, but his face is hidden. When he finally turns to the camera, he's suddenly William Shatner, having gained a bit of weight. The actual climber was stuntman Kenny Bates. In Scarface, when Omar is on the helicopter before being hanged, it's very clear that a stunt double is used right before he's dropped. In GoldenEye, the opening scene where Bond jumps from the dam features a stuntman who is very clearly not Pierce Brosnan, making the swap quite obvious.